Welcome to the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. I'm your host, Corey Graham. Join us here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where the independent new authors come first. The new book by Bruce Reffler, it offers a groundbreaking perspective on America's current moral crisis and the path to redemption. It's titled America Through the Eyes of God. Bruce is sitting here with me now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. We're going to talk all about it. Bruce, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. It's good to be with you today.
It's great to be talking with you, Bruce. Can you tell me all about America Through the Eyes of God and what readers are going to be getting into here?
The book is meant for Christians to read it and give to non-Christians, because at the end of the book, the way the book is set up, the Christian or non-Christian can pray to receive Jesus Christ. So it's a unique book that I've never seen that in the book before. God gave me the vision to write the book, and that in itself is God divine.
Have you ever done anything like this before, or is this all kind of new ground for you?
It's new ground. I was a fiction writer, and I wrote 2 books, and I just couldn't, being an unknown author, it's hard to sell 2 books. So one day I was in the shower. How this book came about, it still blows me away. I was in the shower one time when I was praying. I said, I did the 2 books. I had very little sales. So I was in the shower one day and I prayed to God. I said, God, I pray for a book that I could sell. And that's all I said. The next day I had the title of the book written down in 10 chapters written down on a piece of paper. And I'm telling you, and I was just like, you got to be, it was amazing, the feeling, because it had to be God divine. That wouldn't have been me. You know what I'm talking about? So that's how the book kind of got in the way. When in the first chapter of the book is in the beginning, and I really didn't know how to start. I just started within the beginning, God created, and went from there. And I had no clue what I was going to, even from chapter to chapter, what I was going to write. So God and the Holy Spirit has steered me into writing a nonfiction book and a Christian book. And I tell you, I've never seen that coming. If you'd told me I'd write this book 2 years ago, I'd have laughed at you.
So once you got started on it, how long of a process was this for you? The writing and the publishing and everything?
2 years. It took me about a year to write the book, and then went into publishing from there. So the time everything got wound up in publishing, it's about a year later. So 2 years total.
So once you handed that manuscript off to your publisher, Covenant Books, and started that publishing process, Bruce, what did you find the most challenging part of that end of things for you?
It really wasn't challenging at all, because I went through Covington Books, and they handled everything from start to finish. So I'm really pleased with the book they put together for me.
After all that time and that work that you put into it, that day comes and your first copy is in and you get to hold it for the first time. Bruce, what's that like?
I couldn't believe it. I got the book in front of me now, and I still can't believe that I wrote this book. And I just got done reading the book a little bit ago, and I'll tell you, I think to myself, I wrote this. It was a thump in my heart, really, too. Why God called me, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pastor, I'm just an average Joe. And God called me to write this book. I'm still kind of amazed by it, but He's told me to share it with the world, and that's what I'm doing, and that's what I hopefully will be doing out there in public, is sharing it with the world.
And now that you're officially a published author, Bruce, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of it all for you? Writing
the book, because I never thought I was able to write a book. I didn't have the education to write a book. I was a C student just trying to see my way out of school in the early days. I'm 63 now, so I thought just accomplishing my 3rd book, or any book, is just like I said, it's exciting to me, because I knew with a computer and imagination, I can write. And that's what happened in 2010 when I wrote my first book.
So looking down the road, do you see yourself publishing more, do you think?
I do. I got my eyes on America Through the Eyes of God 2, book 2. And then another story that I wrote, a fiction book. I'm thinking of writing a second story to one of those books also. So I got some stuff to keep me busy.
Well, a lot of listeners right now are authors who are just starting out as well, Bruce. So do you have maybe some advice that you'd be able to throw out there for them?
It's tough business, I'll be honest with you. Just like I said, fill their dream, finish, write a book, get it published. You've either got to publish it or self-publish it, get it out there, and just don't give up on the dream. There's times when I can, during this book, why is God using me? I could have gave up very easily, say, I don't have the knowledge to do this, but just stick with your dreams, and you can write a book no matter who you are.
Again, this book is titled America, Through the Eyes of God. It's written by Bruce Reffler, published by Covenant Books, and available really everywhere, places like Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iTunes, and also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Well, Bruce, it's been great talking with you tonight and learning all about this book. Thanks again for being here with me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sitting down with me now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, I'm speaking with author James Frederick Jones. James, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Gotta say congratulations. You have a new book out, The Very Best of You, Lifestyle Collection Series. James, can you tell me all about it?
Yes, The Very Best of You. This is the first book from my Lifestyle Collection series, and this book is about becoming the best version of yourself. I mean, really only like we can. No one else can be better at being us than us, so to speak. So I'm very excited about that. And again, it is, my first book, my first project, and, allowing God to inspire me to writing this book and just, being sensitive to the Spirit of God and just writing those things down as they, came to me.
What kinds of readers do you think would be most into this, James?
Well, teens up until adulthood from an age standpoint, but it's geared towards everyone, really. It just has that type of balance in it, being a book of, motivation and inspiration and, spirituality. So I feel that everyone could glean something from what is being written.
So how'd this all come about, James? How'd you get the idea to get started on this?
Really just from the Spirit of God, just giving me that nudge about, writing. And I was, real sensitive to that and completely just lean on God's Spirit and guidance and direction and got me to put pencil to pad, so to speak, and start writing.
So have you ever done anything like this before, James, or is this all kind of new territory for you?
I would say it's new territory. I mean, you do a lot of writing in seminary, but not from this aspect of taking on becoming an author and publishing a book of such.
So being your first, was this a long journey that you were on overall?
This took about 9 months, I would say, the time to, birth a child. So this is, my baby. So, yeah, about 9 months it took.
So once you started working with Covenant Books and embarking on that publishing process, what would you say is the most difficult aspect of that?
Really, I didn't really find any. I mean, it's, you have your timeline, and doing book projects of such. And as far as, the publishing company, Covenant Books, I mean, they were clear in their direction. And so we collaborated, well together. So with that collaboration, we kept to our timelines.
So what was it like when it was finally a real thing? You got your first copies in and you were holding it for the first time, James. What was that like?
It was beautiful, joyful. You really felt such a accomplishment and also appreciating the time really that it took. It wasn't something that, I rushed through. I really took my time with this. And at the end, I was real proud of what I was able to accomplish.
And now you're officially a published author, James. What would you say is the most rewarding aspect of all of it for you?
Having that first one behind me and now looking forward for the next one, like I said, this is going to be a series, under what I'm branding as, Lifestyle Collection Series. So I'm looking forward to the next one.
Oh, we have a lot of authors who are listening right now. They're just starting out. Do you have maybe anything in the way of advice that you could toss out there?
I would say to them to don't give up, first of all, to continue to believe in the process, believe in themselves, believe in what they're writing, and just follow through. Just follow through with your vision, follow through with your plan, and just allow it to come together.
So it sounds like this whole thing was a fairly smooth process for you. So when you're writing this, James, was writer's block or anything like that ever a challenge?
No, it really wasn't, because just allowing what was flowing, what was coming to me, what I was hearing, I knew that was being God sent. I really didn't have any blockage.
So I'm looking at the book right now, and it's a beautiful cover. The photo on this is really beautiful, James. How did that all come about?
Well, I wanted to definitely have something that I felt that captured the attention, showing you, something of balance. And the very best of you is going to take that. You're going to have a balanced lifestyle. And then just having, as you can see, that sun just shining, having that sun just shine upon you as you just press on with the journey of life, bringing about the very best of you.
Again, the title is The Very Best of You, Lifestyle Collection Series. This is written by James Frederick Jones, published by Covenant Books, and available pretty much everywhere like Amazon and Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Well, James, thank you again for coming on the show and chatting with me here a little bit. It was really nice talking.
Thank you so much, Corey. So much nice as well talking to you as well.
Sitting down with me right now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, I'm really happy to be speaking with author Debby Young. Debby, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. So glad to be with you.
Absolutely. I'm really excited you have a new book out titled The Black and White of It. Debby, can you tell me what you've written about here?
Well, it's actually an autobiography of my life. I was raised in the greater Northwest and grew up as just a fun, loving kid, but in a biracial family because my mother married a Caucasian man, so he was my father. And so though I was actually African American, I was actually raised up biracial. And it was during the 60s, so we did face some challenges there with the family, my immediate family and my extended family. And we got through that, and I had some problems a little later on when I became just about a teenager. Had some deception with my stepfather, and some things went on, and my mother and father ended up getting divorced. And that kind of started things off kind of on the downward spiral for myself, and got involved in so many different things, so many negative things, drugs and alcohol and prostitution, and all this stuff came along. I was a teen. I ended up getting pregnant at 16, having my daughter at 17, and it just was a lot for a young girl. And I also had a father that was nearby that never came around. That was another piece. So I was always kind of looking for this father, and I ended up with a much older guy who just was not nice, in a very volatile relationship. And life went on for a while like that, for quite a while like that. And, eventually when I would have moments of clarity, I would actually go back to school. So that was a great thing. So I went back and got my GED, and I went to college a couple times. So I had some education so that when I finally did come around and God brought me out, God was with me through it all, I tell you, because there's no way I could have made it through without him. But when I finally really did find the Lord and receive him as my Lord and Savior, he changed my life, Corey. He really did. And he brought me, when they talk about he'll give you, joy for mourning and beauty for ashes, he actually did that with me and with my life. And I've just been so thankful because it just, to start off so beautiful and then have a rough middle. I always tell people it starts off beautiful and then it's got a rough middle. And thank God for Jesus Christ, because the ending is beautiful. And I have a life now that's second to none. And, I'm a pastor now with the church, Restoration for Life Ministries. We're going into our 14th year. This year, had a housed over almost nearly 300 people. Nearly 300 people in my 4-bedroom house. We used to house them for 30 days off the street, and now there's the jails, Corey, and they came from all walks of life. And so many people have been helped through this process and through my life. The beautiful thing is that, God can take your mess and make it a blessing. And that's what he did for me, Corey. He really did. And I know it sounds cliche, but it's really true that there's nothing impossible with God, that he really, all becomes new. Because the people that, it's strange because the people in Seattle know my past life, but the people here in Atlanta didn't know anything about it. And when they read it, they can't believe it's me. They're just like, it can't be, And that's why I say that, you really do become new in Christ, because they don't know me. They don't know that old Debby. They just know the new Debby Young. So it's just a blessing to be, just be part of this number and just have the hope that I have. I was so hopeless, but thank God for Jesus. Thank God for Jesus Christ because he was right there waiting for me to come to him.
Man, I think people are going to love this book. Again, it's titled The Black and White of It. It's written by Debby Young, published by Christian Faith Publishing, and pretty much available everywhere, like Amazon, and Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Oh, Debby, it's been wonderful talking with you tonight and learning all about your story. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Corey, for having me. I appreciate you all so much.
I'm sitting down with author Raymond Robinson right now here at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. Raymond, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here with me.
Yes, I'm glad, sir. I'm glad to be on this show with you, sir. I've been waiting for a long time. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Raymond. You have a new book out titled The Only Way to Get Saved is by the Tongues. Raymond, can you tell me what it's all about, what you've written here?
Well, I wrote, it was about people coming to Jesus, coming to Christ, but it really is the only way to get saved. Because that's why when Jesus told them to go up in the upper room, you know, when Jesus went up, he told them you had 112 of them in Acts. Yeah, and he told them told them to go in the upper room, and they went up there, and they all were speaking in tongues, and they all were saved. But he's also telling them that it's just about coming to Christ, staying with Christ, let the Spirit just live in your body, let it guide you. If you let it guide you, you won't have no wrong in this world. Because this world getting worse and worse. It ain't getting no better. But the speaking in tongues can change your life forever.
Raymond, what sorts of readers do you think would be into this one the most?
Anybody that would love to get to know about the Word of God, get to know about Jesus, get to know, that want to come to him, that needs help. Because people need help in this world, spiritual help. They need that. I mean, you got a lot of things in the world can go wrong. But if you leave this world without Christ, what do you have? You have nothing. No house, no cars, no friends, no mother, no father can help you but Christ. Anybody can get something out of it, but you got to want it. If you want it, you will get it.
So, Raymond, what was that spark? What made you say, hey, I'm going to sit down and get started writing this book?
To be truthful, a lot of people say that they had a dream. No, I was asleep. And I was asleep. It said, I heard a voice. It said, Raymond, get up and write. So I got up. I said, wait a minute. I said, I can't write. I said, Lord, I knew who it was. I said, Lord, I can't write. So I went back to bed. I think it was about a month later. It said, Raymond, get up and write. I got up and I started writing it.
So once you started writing it, was this a long journey that you were on?
Really, I wrote it in like 4 hours. When I finished it, I just finished it. I didn't know. I just did it. Because really, I had another book I was going to write. But God wanted me to write this one.
Is this the first time you've been published, Raymond?
Yes, it's the first time. It's the first time.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
So once you started working with Christian Faith, you were doing that publishing process. What did you find the most challenging part about that for you?
Going through them, I mean, they're great people. I mean, I love them to death. I will never change with no other publishing. The challenging part, I didn't have the money. But the best part is they worked with me. They took time and they worked with me. They didn't know I was getting frustrated, but I knew that God had some in plans for this book. So, I knew, and they worked with me, I was losing patience, but I know that's what I had to have. I had to have patience. So, I'm happy that I finished the little book, and they asked me, say, Mr. Robinson, do you want to write more so it can be a hard copy? I said no, because really, that's what God wanted me to write. I just did what he wanted me to do. And so that was it. I was happy.
Man, I couldn't imagine then that moment whenever you were finally holding this for the first time, Raymond. What was that like?
Man, it was like joy. Almost like not the day I found Christ, but it was a notch down, but it was something that I was so happy. It was just like being in a candy store. And when you're a little kid, you seeing all the candy. You're just happy. Or coming down from upstairs, your mother called you kind of open up your toys for Christmas. That's how I felt. I felt so happy. I'm like, oh, man, is this Christmas again? But that's how it was when I seen it in my hand, when I finished it. I was so happy.
Well, Raymond, a lot of people who are listening to us right now are authors just starting out. So maybe would you have something in the way of advice that you could offer them?
Yes, I'm going to tell you. If God gives you a dream, or if he comes to you and wake you up out of your sleep, or he sends somebody towards you and say, hey, I see something special in you. Hold on to that, because what they're saying could be true. hold on to it, and just do it.
Again, this book is titled The Only Way to Get Saved is By the Tongues. It's written by Raymond Robinson and published by Christian Faith Publishing, and it's available places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble and iTunes, also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Well, Raymond, it's been fantastic talking with you tonight and learning all about your work. Thanks again for being here.
Minister Raymond Robinson is my name. Serving Jesus is my thing.
This book is a tale of faith, redemption, and second chances. It's the new book by Collette Smith, and it's titled The Sterling Redemption, Samson's Strength. And I'm really happy that the author, Collette, is right here with me now, and we get to talk all about the book. Collette, welcome to the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. I appreciate you joining me tonight.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, Collette. So can you tell me all about the Sterling Redemption and what you've written about in here?
The Sterling Redemption, I feel, fills a void that is out there in romance novels. A lot of the romance novels out there will go and concentrate on the physical aspects of love and basically put soft porn out there. The Sterling Redemption actually concentrates on the emotional aspects of love and the emotional aspects of a relationship between a man and a woman. That's what I hope to achieve with the series of the Sterling Redemption, with Samson's Strength being the first of the series.
Would you say that fans of romance novels then were primarily who you were writing this for?
Actually, Catholic romance novel fans. I realize that's a very niche audience, but I have had reviews from people of other faiths, appreciated learning a little bit about the Catholic faith along the way in reading this novel. Of course, it's not everything Catholic in the novel. You know, there's romance, there's breakdowns of relationships and putting together a relationship that happens with this. But of course, it is viewed through a Catholic lens. Realizing that this is a niche audience, I went ahead and went for it. It's the novel that came into my head, and so it's the novel I felt called to write.
So how did this idea come about? Was it just something, like you said, just popped into your head, or were there other things involved?
It kind of sort of did. There was a rather public divorce to the local area. It was in the news, and I was thinking, gosh, you know, a good thing there was no children born of this union, of this toxic relationship, you know. And my regular day job is I take care of critically ill children that are on ventilators and have central lines and stuff. And so here I am taking care of these types of children, and boom, it hits me. I'm like, good golly, what would happen if a child such as this was born into a relationship, a toxic relationship such as that? The novel ended up morphing into this Catholic romance novel that I've created and put pen to paper.
So are you new to all of this, or the publishing and writing, or are you familiar with it all?
Yes, 100% new to it, but I've gotten great reviews from the book. Everybody's ready for the second book to come out, and it's a very exciting experience to be well received among Catholics and non-Catholics alike, and men and women alike. I mean, you know, come on, let's face it, guys are not romance novel, you know, the target for romance novels. But I've had several fellows that have read this novel and said, I'm ready for more.
So you mentioned a second book. So are you working on a follow-up of sorts to this?
Oh, yes, I am. The Sterling Redemption is a trilogy. Samson's Strength being the first of the books. I'm working on the second one, and then there will be a third one. I know what happens in all of the novels. That being said, I wanted it also, this series, to represent the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So you've got the first novel, second novel, third novel. That's why I have a little bit of symbolism in the name of the main character, being Christina, with Christ being the first 5 letters of that name. Christina, 3 letters, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Samson being the lead male character in this book. If you look into the Old Testament, he's a man of strength, but a man of weakness. So that's why I chose those names.
Well, again, the book is titled The Sterling Redemption, Samson's Strength. It's written by Collette Smith and published by Christian Faith Publishing. So You can find it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and also right down the street at your local bookshop. Well, Collette, thank you again for coming on the show and talking with me all about the Sterling Redemption. It was really great.
Okay, well, thank you for having me again, and I look forward to hearing from your listeners.
Joining me right now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, I'm delighted to be talking with author Leighlan Marie Fields. Leighlan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
I wanted to congratulate you. You have a new book out titled The Night Is Mine. So, Leighlan, can you tell me all about it?
Ever since I was 14 years old, I wrote poetry, and I collected them throughout the years, and I always wanted to publish my poems, so this is what I did with this, and this is my first published book, so I'm very proud of that.
Leighlan, what sorts of readers do you think would be into it the most?
Well, I think adults and maybe midlife people would be able to connect and relate.
So once you had your manuscript all together, you started working with your publisher, Newman Springs. What would you say was the most difficult part of that publishing process for you?
The most difficult part was getting it together, and I had to, like they'd send it in, I'd make the corrections, and then I'd send it back. But other than that, it wasn't hard at all.
Was it a long process overall?
Well, as I was writing it throughout my life, it was a long process. But when I published it, it took about maybe a year, something like that, or a little less.
There's nothing like seeing that final product, and you're holding your first copy finally, Leighlan. What was that like for you?
Oh, I'm very proud of myself. I believe that I'm a really good writer. I want to write another book in the future, a poetry book.
So now that you're officially a published author, Leighlan, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of it for you?
The most rewarding is to see people happy and, they say that they're proud of me and stuff like that. So people's reactions is what I like the best.
So it might be kind of hard to do this kind of thing alone. There's so much involved. Leighlan, were there people in your life around you that could keep you motivated and maybe a little encouraged as you were going along?
Yeah, my family and my friends. Yeah, my family and friends are very good people, and they're very supportive.
Now, what kind of author are you? A lot of us like to write maybe early in the morning or stay up late at night and write. And then others of us, we write whenever we feel that inspiration. What kind of writer are you, Leighlan?
I write when I feel the inspiration, and that's when I feel the inspiration, that's the best because it really comes from my heart.
Is writer's block or anything like that ever an issue for you?
Oh, yeah. It's happened. Sometimes I'll start writing a poem and then I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? So I've had that happen to me before.
Is there anything in particular that you like to do to maybe get that creativity going again?
Nothing in particular, but I just enjoy writing. And I have some books that has writing prompts and journaling. Stuff like that would help, the journaling and there's writing prompts and stuff.
A lot of listeners to us right now are authors who are just starting out. Leighlan, is there maybe some advice that you could throw out there for them?
Follow your dreams. They may come true. I had a dream about publishing poetry, and I did it, and I'm proud of that.
One thing I've noticed talking with so many authors here over the years is a lot of them also love to read. Leighlan, would you describe yourself as an avid reader?
I like to read. When I first started reading, I was at my mom's, and I used to read her romance novels, and that's how I got started.
So I'm looking at The Night Is Mine right now, and the cover is really beautiful. Was that an easy decision to make, how the cover was going to look?
Yeah, I thought it would be nice to have like a sunset. I thought it'd be nice because The Night Is Mine. So it kind of goes with that title, with the night and everything.
Well, it sounds like this book is definitely going to help a lot of people. Again, it's titled The Night Is Mine. It's written by Leighlan Marie Fields, published by Newman Springs Publishing, and available everywhere, really, places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble, iTunes, also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Leighlan, it was really wonderful talking with you tonight and learning all about your poetry. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much.
Joining me right now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, I'm delighted to be talking with author Leighlan Marie Fields. Leighlan, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
I wanted to congratulate you. You have a new book out titled The Night Is Mine. So, Leighlan, can you tell me all about it?
Ever since I was 14 years old, I wrote poetry and I collected them throughout the years, and I always wanted to publish my poems, so this is what I did with this, and this is my first published book, so I'm very proud of that.
Leighlan, what sorts of readers do you think would be into it the most?
Well, I think adults and maybe midlife people would be able to connect and relate.
So once you had your manuscript all together, you started working with your publisher, Newman Springs. What would you say was the most difficult part of that publishing process for you?
The most difficult part was getting it together, and I had to, they'd send it in, I'd make the corrections, and then I'd send it back. But other than that, it wasn't hard at all.
Was it a long process overall?
Well, as I was writing it throughout my life, it was a long process. But when I published it, it took about maybe a year, something like that, or a little less.
There's nothing like seeing that final product, and you're holding your first copy finally. Leighlan, what was that like for you?
Oh, I'm very proud of myself. I believe that I'm a really good writer. I want to write another book in the future, a poetry book.
So now that you're officially a published author, Leighlan, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of it for you?
The most rewarding is to see people happy and, they say that they're proud of me and stuff like that. So people's reactions is what I like the best.
So it might be kind of hard to do this kind of thing alone. There's so much involved. Leighlan, were there people in your life around you that could keep you motivated and maybe a little encouraged as you were going along?
Yeah, my family and my friends. Yeah, my family and friends are very good people, and they're very supportive.
What kind of author are you? A lot of us like to write maybe early in the morning or stay up late at night and write. And then others of us, we write whenever we feel that inspiration. What kind of writer are you, Leighlan?
I write when I feel the inspiration, and when I feel the inspiration, that's the best because it really comes from my heart.
Is writer's block or anything like that ever an issue for you?
Oh, yeah, it's happened. Sometimes I'll start writing a poem and then I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? So I've had that happen to me before.
Is there anything in particular that you like to do to maybe get that creativity going again?
Nothing in particular, but I just enjoy writing, and I have some books that has writing prompts and journaling, stuff like that. That would help, the journaling and there's writing prompts and stuff.
A lot of listeners to us right now are authors who are just starting out. Leighlan, is there maybe some advice that you could throw out there for them?
Follow your dreams. They may come true. I had a dream about publishing poetry, and I did it, and I'm proud of that.
One thing I've noticed talking with so many authors here over the years is a lot of them also love to read. Leighlan, would you describe yourself as an avid reader?
I like to read. When I first started reading, I was at my mom's, and I used to read her romance novels, and that's how I got started.
So I'm looking at The Night Is Mine right now, and the cover is really beautiful. Was that an easy decision to make, how the cover was going to look?
Yeah, I thought it would be nice to have like a sunset. I thought it'd be nice because The Night Is Mine. So it kind of goes with that title, with the night and everything.
Well, it sounds like this book is definitely going to help a lot of people. Again, it's titled The Night Is Mine. It's written by Leighlan Marie Fields, published by Newman Springs Publishing, and available everywhere, really, places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble, iTunes, also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Leighlan, it was really wonderful talking with you tonight and learning all about your poetry. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much.
Joining me right now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, I'm delighted to be talking with author Marissa Smith. Marissa, welcome to the show. I really appreciate you joining me tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited you have a new book out called Zyriel's Bracelet. Marissa, can you tell me all about it?
Yes, it's a book regarding a child, which is my daughter. She's having a little trouble in school and she learns better at home. So I can't be there with her, during school. So I just gave her a special little gift that can take the place of me so that she can fully focus and pass her class.
So this is a children's book, right?
Yes, this is a children's book.
So would you say younger children, older children? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a younger generation, whereas, most of the teenagers and stuff like that, they're busy doing other things. So this is more for like the elementary children and, kids in Head Start, that really needs, attention.
So how did this come about, Marissa? Where'd you get the idea for it?
Oh, my God. Well, I was sitting at home and I decided to write a book because my daughter had, read all of the books that we had in the home. So I was like, okay, well, let's see if I can actually write you a book. This was just like a spare of the moment thing. It only took me maybe like 20 to 30 minutes and we had the book.
So have you ever done anything like this before, or is this all kind of new ground for you?
This is new ground for me. This was not even expected, but I'm so glad that I took a chance on it and actually, tried to get it published, and here we are.
And a really important part of a book like this is the illustrations. Marissa, was that a smooth process to get those lined up just the way you wanted?
Yes, because it was like everything was just kind of like what I've always dreamed of a children's book, to be. It's very colorful, very straight to the point. The illustrations were perfect. I really do appreciate all that Covenant Book has done to help me.
Man, after all that hard work that you put into this, finally, that day came. You're holding the first copy, and it's a real thing finally. Marissa, what was that moment like for you?
I was overwhelmed. I was overjoyed. I was excited. I had a lot of mixed emotions going on.
So looking down the road, do you see yourself writing, publishing another?
Yes, actually I do.
Are you thinking of a follow-up to Zyriel's bracelet, or maybe something a little different?
That's undecided, but I know that I will be coming out with something special for more children around the world, so just stay tuned.
So now that you're officially a published author, Marissa, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of it all for you?
The most rewarding is really just being a voice for children of that age group. Because, most children, really do need special attention in that area. And I would say that, separation anxiety is something that we really don't talk about. And a lot of kids really do feel more comfortable with, learning at home rather than at school sometimes.
We have a lot of authors listening to us right now that are just starting out. Marissa, do you have any advice that you could throw out there for them?
Keep going. Don't give up on yourself. Take that risk like I did and just, wait and see what happens. Just explore, and not be afraid to push through with it. That's pretty much what my advice would be for any up-and-coming author that's out there and that's trying to get their name out there in their work.
So when you think of the whole thing, the writing, the publishing, everything that went into this, Marissa, what would you say was the most challenging part of it for you?
The most challenging, really, to me, it was an easy process. I mean, to me, everything kind of just flowed through. The only thing would be far as like, getting the book out there is, the groundwork behind that, the advertisement and stuff like that. That can be kind of a challenge to some, but it was an actual, flow through. Like it was an easy process.
That's wonderful. Oh, what a wonderful book. I think children and families are going to love this. Again, it's titled Zyriel's Bracelet. This is written by Marissa Smith, published by Covenant Books, and available really everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Marissa, it's been wonderful talking with you tonight and learning all about Zyriel's Bracelet. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You guys have a great evening.
The new book by Sarah Ivette Morales. It's titled Shoes of Peace on the Desert Road. It's a memoir of faith, resilience, and finding peace in life's greatest challenges. Sarah is right here with me now. We're going to talk all about the book. Sarah, welcome. I really appreciate you joining me tonight.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Sarah, can you tell me all about Shoes of Peace on the Desert Road and what readers are going to find here?
Well, readers are going to find that it's basically a memoir, and I wrote it out of love for my family, especially my two daughters, and chronicling my diagnosis with cancer and who I turned to during this time. And it was God, faith, friends, family, and a positive attitude that helped me through it. And as we speak, I'm still going through it. It's a fight. And for those who read it, they'll know that I am a stage 4 survivor. So it's day-to-day living, and I stand with everyone with an illness and cancer in the fight of, doing the best that you can day by day.
So would you say it's readers who are facing those sorts of challenges that you wrote this for?
Yes, basically yes, but also I think to those who may be struggling with other things as well, maybe it'll also help them to see that regardless of what you're going through, you're going to have somebody to turn to, and I hope readers understand that it was my faith and God and Jesus that got me through it.
So Sarah, what does your writing background look like? Are you experienced in this at all?
Absolutely not. My experience is just being a teacher, 13-year teacher, then turned stay-at-home mother, and it was during that time that I got my diagnosis, and I just had no intention of publishing, and it just turned out that I felt compelled to do it. I took a leap of faith, and Christian Faith Publishing said yes, and here I am talking to you today.
So being your first one, was this a long journey that you were on, the writing and publishing and everything?
It sure was, and at the same time, I really didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'm a novice author, so it was just, I am green, so trying to go through the process. Everybody did so great in helping me along, and things, running so smoothly. I really had great people along with me, doing everything from the editors, the book cover, doing other things as Audible as well. Everybody was just so great, and I couldn't have had a better experience.
Yeah, there is so much involved in that publishing process. Sarah, what did you find the most challenging part of that all for you?
Oh, the most challenging was the editing, and that's because my book is relatively short. I don't know how someone would be doing all this with a 600-plus page novel. I mean, my hat's off to the editor and that author, because they're also having to review their work again and just kind of making sure, that everything is in order. So I honestly, editing, going back and forth and doing all that, it really is a tedious process. And, getting the time, carving it in, and, I've got my two girls. I basically was a night owl throughout the entire process. So that's the only way I was going to get it done.
Well, this is a really special book to you, and whenever you're finally holding their first copy in your hands, Sarah, and it was a real thing after all that time and hard work, what was that moment like for you?
I still don't believe it, if I'm being honest. I can't believe that I can say that that was something that was done, but moreover, I think I'm hoping that it's more about the message of God's grace and turning to Jesus that will really hopefully plant those seeds and understand that the real peace, that unexplainable peace, is very real, and anyone can attain it.
Well, now that you are a published author, Sarah, what do you say is the most rewarding aspect of it all for you?
I think that honestly the most rewarding is just the fact that when I get to actually interact with some people, just knowing that they will come to me and just kind of say, you know what, I had cancer too, or I had somebody pass away from cancer, or just, thanking me for being encouraging, because they may look at their life one way, but then once they read somebody else's life, they kind of take a step back and they're like, you know what, I really need to be grateful for a lot of things.
Oh, what a wonderful story in this book. Again, it's titled Shoes of Peace on the Desert Road. It's written by Sarah Ivette Morales, published by Christian Faith Publishing, and available pretty much everywhere, like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iTunes, and also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Sarah, it's been really wonderful talking with you tonight, learning all about this book. Thanks again for being on the show with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
The new medieval fantasy novel by Jacob Walton is filled with magic, mystery, and adventure, and we're going to talk all about it. Jacob is here with me right now at the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. Jacob, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Jacob, can you tell me all about the legend of Umbridge and what readers are going to be finding here?
It's, obviously medieval fantasy. The general story is about a guy who doesn't belong anywhere. He doesn't have a place among his own people, let alone the rest of the world. It's his story, you know? It's how he meets a woman who sees him for who he is, loves him, and how he grows and struggles to get her back. There's elements of love in it that both women and men can enjoy, battles and fighting, as well as aspects like virtue, loneliness, joy, and pain.
Jacob, what kinds of readers did you have in mind for this?
I honestly didn't have a specific target audience. I mean, aside from a little violence, it's pretty much age-friendly for any range, really. I kept it clean because I have family members and friends that it would be awkward to hear cussing and a whole lot of sexuality, and I just wanted to try and keep it friendly for pretty much any perspective, religious perspective or non-religious perspective, you know?
So how did this all come about, Jacob? Where'd you get the idea for it?
I haven't told too many people about this, but basically it happened from a dream that I had when I was, I think, 18. There's a scene in the book, actually, so spoilers. It's where my main character, Bowthorn, is kind of looking for his love interest, Allura, who's locked behind bars, and there's a scene where they're pretty much like she's on one side, locked away, imprisoned. He's on the other side trying to get her free, you know? That was pretty much my dream back then, and it was just such a powerful emotion of seeing someone you care so much about so close but impossible to truly reach, the pain of it all as well as the powerful anger and conviction to see that they're free. The dream it haunted me until I finally wrote it down. After a while, it just started growing in my head.
Jacob, what does your writing background look like?
I don't have any type of educational background with writing. I'm more or less it's been more or less a hobby until, my family got their hands on it and pretty much threatened me if I didn't try publishing it, you know?
So once you started working with your publisher, with Christian Faith, you started that publishing process. Jacob, what did you find the most challenging part about all of that?
Being patient. For me, it was just coming to the realization that other people are going to be seeing what's become very important to me, you know, very personal. Getting past that has been, I would say, the most challenging aspect.
There's nothing like finally getting that finished product. So, Jacob, whenever you were holding the first copy in your hands for that first time, what was that moment like for you?
That was an interesting day. I was out working. When I got home, there was a package in the mail. I hadn't even been expecting it. It had been a while since they told me that I would be getting it, so it already slipped my mind. But I opened the box, and there they were, just sitting there with the cover and my name on it, and it was surreal. But it felt great, to be honest. It took a while to finally sink in, though, you know, because there's always that few minutes where you're just processing it.
You mentioned the cover. I'm looking at it right now, and this is a great cover, Jacob. Was that a difficult process to get that all put together?
Well, the cover I designed it. I came up with the design and everything. I even did my own original drawing.
So this is book one of the Last Skin Shifter series. So do you have a lot of them planned out, or are you just kind of going one at a time?
Actually, I'm in the process of finishing the third book, writing-wise. I've got 5 planned. That's the general idea in my head so far, and it's appearing to come together that way.
Now, Jacob, are you the kind of writer that works off of an outline, or do you just kind of start writing and see where it goes from there?
Well, honestly, it's kind of yes and no. Like for me, my general sense of memory, if you will, is just understanding the basic outline of a story in my head instinctually. And then after that, filling in the blanks, and those tend to come as I write. It's like write down one important scene and then let it kind of soak in to write the next scene, you know? It's more or less an emotion-based process than a logical one.
Well, sounds like a lot of readers will be into this book. Again, it's titled The Legend of Umbridge, The Last Skin Shifter, Book 1. It's written by Jacob Walton and published by Christian Faith Publishing. Find it at places like Amazon or Barnes & Noble, iTunes, also traditional brick-and-mortar stores. Well, Jacob, thank you again for coming on the show. It was really great talking with you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. We hope to see you back here every Friday night at 8 p.m. or listen anytime via podcast at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, to name just a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where independent new authors come first.